Hello, Internet Land. I'm Lance Care. I am moving out into the world of modern technology finally, inch by inch, millimeter by millimeter. Maybe by the time I'm 105 years old, I will actually be using this kind of stuff fluidly. Anyways, so, I've tried various media technologies that they have, like the voice thing and stuff like that. And so, hey, I'm going to do a video. People do videos, and it's getting used to stuff like that too. So, I'm writing a book. It's going to be called The Philosophical Hack. I think it's got a lot of significant things to say. So I'm just going to read. It should be out the end of August, maybe. So I'm just going to read a part of this. See if it makes any sense. See if I can get used to actually reading things to the infinite public beyond this dot, and in front of people in general. So I'll just start reading. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. The definition that Marx gives us. Oh, no. Damn it. This brings us to what I call the postmodern philosophical privilege. This interpretation of Marx places the reading in a particularly phenomenalist arena. I was talking about Marx earlier on. I'm just starting right here. Modern critical theory arises out of this ironic insertion of Marx through the not-to-be-downplayed insight of Theodor Adorno. The short paraphrase of this twist is that words have come to have, what I shall truncate to say, two levels of meaning, one that could be called empirical and one that could be called phenomenal. The former points to specific objective realities as items that are distinctly separate from the thinking human being, even while they involve the individual as a psychic political creature. There is no gray area here. This kind of analysis relies upon an unproblematized distinction between thinker and object that the thought reflects. That is, between the traditional subject and object. The latter phenomenal interpretation is pretty much all gray. If we say, quote, the state, there's little distinction to be made between the empirical governmental bureaucratic body of people, laws, and enforcement, and the phenomenal governing body that is subjectivity and its concordant manners of having laws and aspect of enforcement, as this thus is one way to apply Dasein. Heidegger's Dasein, if I'm saying that correctly. This is a philosophical abuse of irony, if I may call it that. In this, speaking of one is to speak about the other, and thus we can have all sorts of systems theory that marks the state, which is the subject of various forms of freedom and oppression, in a quite non-ironic register. The mode of such critical theory is to include and displace. It includes all subjects according to the associated narratives which arise out of them, but around them also. And it displaces by placing the subject within inescapable systems of power, often to the point of saying that a subject has no ability, or essence, outside of the systems, while then relying upon the apparent novelty that arises somewhere systematically unknown. Are we even allowed to ask how it is possible to have a system to be analyzed when we have no idea how the analysis is able to come about? No, we are not. This is the ontological mandate. One can ask how, but the answer is always withdrawn. Regardless of the theoretical postures, the answer, strangely enough, is no different than what we have found earlier in this essay, namely, through a continual act of displacement, that is, by discursive sleight of hand, of showing one item while shifting another to fit the occasion of meaning. This kind of non-ironic doublespeak thus holds the credentials of a legitimate method, but the functioning of it also allows for what otherwise might be the truth of a situation to never be localizable in such knowledge. To be blatant, the truth is never findable through the method, even under the guise of an effort towards solution. How this plays out is the author can make a statement, an argument, and then this statement is presented to others for response and rebuttal. But because the mediating position assumed of the statement, which is to say as an extension of the author's identity, one never knows just what point is being made except that various people have meanings that is informing their responses. Every response is viewed as partial and thus permittable and law-abiding. Each response is thus taken by the originary author likewise to represent a sort of contained variation of the general theme. The cycle of critical theory continues not because there is no knowable objective truth, but because the position from which each critical statement arises upholds a truth for itself that is not communicated by design. Each statement reserves a meaning within itself by which to correct any other statement addressed to it. And this occurs in each statement as it is assumed to adhere to the method. This is often called Socratic method or Socratic irony. But what is typically missed in this appropriation of Plato is that Socrates was not employing a strategy to retain identity, but was in fact attempting to instill his essence into the sense of the common reality. Unlike the sophists, he was not involved in an effort to withhold anything. So that's a little piece. Maybe it'll give you guys a little taste of what the philosophical hack will be about. And maybe, more than a few people will be interested enough to buy it. I'm not worried about making money off my books. That's not where I'm headed. I don't necessarily need it. Maybe one day I will. But I think the ideas contained in it are significant. And I think I'll just need a few more letters after my name in order for people to take me seriously. But we just keep doing what we do. And there it is. My little experiment with video. I'm going to put this on WordPress right now.